Welcome everybody to Chatting with the Comic Community. That's right, guys, it's back. It's back for a limited time, getting to episode 100. Of course, we're going to have 99 and a half, just sneaking right in there between 99 and 100, but we're going to get to 100, and the 100th guest is going to be the first guest, which is Bobby Delaghetto. He'll be doing a giveaway, so you don't want to miss that. But today, on episode 90, my guest is somebody that's been in this comic community for quite a while. He's done so many great things in this community with C3, with the Illuminati. He's also the prince. That's right, guys, not the king, the prince of the sticker people. Let's bring out DJ LINX.
Oh man, I totally forgot. When you said the prince, I was just like, what is he talking about? I totally forgot about the prince of the sticker people. Thank you for having me, Mr. TM Nerdy. Happy to be here, episode 90.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a long time coming, because we planned this about a year and a half ago. So yeah. I'm so happy that you took the time out of your busy schedule to sit down with me for an hour.
Absolutely, man. This is what we do. Thank you again for having me. Like you said, it was scheduled a long time ago. I'm glad I wasn't late though.
Yeah, it's all my fault. So the viewers at home that don't know a lot about you, give them a little bit of a rundown of who you
are. My name is DJ LINX. I'm a YouTube content creator, a lifelong comic book fan, and a collector of cool stuff. I've been doing YouTube since since April of 2020, right? A month after the pandemic started. So jumped on YouTube to keep my video editing skills fresh. That's something that I'm very passionate about, is video creation and editing and things like that. Jumped on YouTube and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I thought I was just going to upload videos, but I didn't know anything about a comic book community, making friends, this, that, and the third. It was just eye-opening for me. And I've been doing it, over 5 years, 5.5 years and change and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm a lifelong comic book fan. I've been collecting on and off since I was 8, 9 or whatever. And besides comic books, I'm a big collector of figures. As you can see behind me, I have some Hot Toys, but I've been collecting figures consistently since I was like about 10 years old. No breaks or stops there. And yeah, man, you can find me over on the DJ LINX YouTube channel. I do have a live stream that goes on Friday nights at 9 p.m. with the Illuminati, as Travis alluded to earlier in the stream, or in the live, in the recording. I'm also part of Comics Curing Cancer, C3 for short, which raises money for the American Cancer Society, raising awareness, family support, patient support, things like that. Yeah, man, and I'm super, super proud of that.
That's great, man. C3 is still going on. It's all year long in that. The link to the C3 is down below, guys. Go check that out. But you kind of already talked a little bit about how you got into comic collecting and that, but I want you to kind of go back further and give us more explanation of how you got into comic collecting / reading.
Thank you. My brothers got me into, my oldest brother. So I'm one of 5. I'm the middle child. So I have 2 older brothers. I'm the middle. I have a younger brother. And then my sister is the baby. And my older brother, he's the one that got me into comics. But before I even knew about comic books or even seen a comic book, like, we would all sit down as a family and watch The Incredible Hulk, the Lou Ferrigno show with Bill Bixby. Watch The Incredible Hulk. And that's one of the very few, if not the only show that we would sit down as an entire family, my dad included, like, we would watch The Incredible Hulk. And that's what really put me on to that character. And then fast forward, I want to say like about 87, 88, my brother gave me some comic books, a small stack. There was a Web of Spider-Man in there, a Detective Comics, Incredible Hulk, a G.I. Joe, things like that. And I fell in love with those. And I would just literally, I barely knew how to read. And I would just look at them, just go through them, look at the pictures, study them, whatever, and then put them back in the bags and boards. Always took good care of it and took good care of my stuff. Fast forward, I think it was either 90 or 91 when Infinity Gauntlet dropped. Everybody was talking about it at school. I went and I had to pick that up. So I picked up Infinity Gauntlet and it blew my mind. I think that was the first crossover event that I've ever experienced. And it was just mesmerizing. I always gravitated toward like anti-heroes and like villainous characters. So seeing Thanos for the first time, because that was my introduction to Thanos, him, everybody being scared to death of him. Like I had some Silver Surfer comics by then as well. None of the stuff leading into the Infinity Gauntlet, like earlier Silver Surfer stuff, and some Rom comics. But seeing Thanos like being a badass and Silver Surfer being scared to death of him in issue #1, where he's going and warning Doctor Strange and stuff. And I was just like enthralled by this character that all the comic characters in the Marvel universe would be scared to this guy and would have to band together to stop him, which was crazy. And then from there it was off to the races. So Infinity Gauntlet, Spider-Man #1, the McFarlane. Oh man, that to me, McFarlane on Spider-Man, that's my Spider-Man artist. I know there's been a ton of Spider-Man artists throughout history. McFarlane is my Spider-Man artist, just like Jim Lee is my X-Men artist. Jim Lee with the whole X-Men run, X-Force, even X-Factor, leading up to when they merged right before X-Men #1, where they merged the teams. X-Factor was amazing. And I just collected like that up onto like my mid-teens. And then I started getting into like hip-hop stuff. So I started collecting hip-hop magazines, The Source, things like that. So my comic collecting kind of like fell back. And then up onto, because I had my daughter really early, so I had to sell my comic collection. Like going into, I was in high school, and I had to like kind of sell my comic collection. Got a few bucks for it, and then even in my early 20s, I would get into it, amass a little collection, sell it, get into it again, amass a collection, sell it, and then like by my late 20s, early 30s, I was into like graphic novels. I would go to the comic book shop and just see what like Punisher was up to, especially what Punisher was up to. So I wound up getting, when I was out of comic books, getting all like the Punisher Max stuff, which was amazing. I'm like I said, I like the violence. And and then getting back into comics during this whole YouTube journey, I got into it I want to say maybe a year into doing YouTube, because I would join like Steve Burke Family 54 on the streams, and Mark would be there, Remy would be there, but Remy and I weren't buying new comic books or anything, so we would just get on the stream to kind of like hijack the stream with jokes and stuff like that. But then I felt left out of the conversation, so I got back into it, and I've been reading. This is the longest period I think that I've been steadily reading weekly comic books since I've started collecting comic books since I was a kid. I love reading. I think we all go through our little like avenues with our journey. Like some people like Grails, some people like this, some like whatever. But right now, my whole thing is like reading. Like I love reading. Like I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning to go to Midtown Comics in the city to go get my books, which is crazy because I needed them today, first thing in the morning, which makes no sense.
Makes no sense. But we are eagerly waiting for new comic book day every week. So we're just like, yeah, we need these right when they drop. Especially the same thing with the movies and that. Like when movies drop, we need them. We need to go see them like right when they drop, and that if they're good.
Yeah.
So I can't help but to hear that like you are mostly a Marvel reader and a Marvel collector, and that you have you strayed onto the DC or indie side at all?
See, that is not true, Mr. TM Nerdy. I started at Marvel. Now I would say the vast majority of things that it's funny because today was a heavy Marvel day. We're recording this on July 9th. Today was a heavy Marvel day, but the majority of things I pick up are indies. I love indie books. I love indie books for a couple of reasons. One, for some reason, I feel that the passion within an indie book is greater than like a big company book, because the person writing those books are trying to like cut their teeth in the industry. But I'm not talking about like a James the Fourth type title. I'm talking about like brand new indie creators. Like I love indie books. Second to that, as far as storytelling, would be DC and Marvel. Marvel's dead last. Like I was always a Marvel guy. As far as storytelling, Marvel is dead last. But indie books, dog, if Marvel, DC, and indie books were hanging off a cliff and I had to save one, indie books all day. Sorry.
So what really got you into the indie scene? Like what book was it that you're just like, oh shit, this is like great. I need to invest and read more indie comics?
So the first thing was, I guess something is killing the children, right? So getting into the comic book community during the pandemic, everybody was talking about something is killing the children. And it was too late to go out and get a number one. I got a number one like after the fact, but it was too late to kind of jump on board from the beginning. So I went and got the trades, and I bought the first trade, read it, went back out that same day, went back to the comic book store to get volume 2 and 3, and then I think I caught up from there. But it was definitely Something is Killing the Children. Now in retrospect, Something is Killing the Children, reading it in trade is far more enjoyable than reading the weekly floppies, because it is such a quick read. Definitely Something is Killing the Children. There was a couple of other ones that aren't like well known, like The Box, The Fourth Man. There was another one, Fear Case by Matt Kint, like real like niche, maybe 3-4 issue arcs that were just like phenomenal for me. And I think that's what I enjoyed most about it, because you get a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then that's it. It's not like Captain America, right? So when I got back in comic books, immediately I jumped toward Captain America, and it was the same like issue for like 5 issues in a row, and I was like, this is terrible. Where it's like an ongoing like soap opera thing. That's why I enjoy indies, because it's a quick read. You only get 5 issues, and that's it, and then maybe another story arc down the line.
So you mentioned earlier that you like when you got into the comic community, you weren't reading current comics and that. So how did you start up your channel? What kind of videos were you doing, since you weren't doing actual comic content?
So when I started the channel, that's a great question. Mystery boxes, that's what it was. I started my channel. My first couple of videos were actually mystery boxes. So I'm heavily influenced by Wink Inc. Exec Collects, who is amazing. Like before I started my channel, I did some research. He was one of the guys that I watched for mystery boxes, Gem Mint for statues and stuff like that. And then a couple of other figure guys, Justin's Collectibles, I think his name is. So I started off with mystery boxes. But like I mentioned earlier, I've been collecting figures forever, since I was like 10 nonstop. So I had a display room already pre-YouTube, where I had all my figures in glass cases and stuff like that. And then I had a whole bunch of them that were unopened. I just had like stacks and stacks of Hot Toys. So then I was like, you know what, let me open these. So then I just had videos for days of just Hot Toys reviews. And then I would go New Comic Book Day, like on Wednesday, but not to get comic books. I would get like a graphic novel, or I would get like Funko Pops, because I was collecting Funko Pops at the time as well. But if you go back, you're going to see a lot of Hot Toys reviews, a lot of street level heroes, that Spider-Man booth mystery boxes, and then like some Funko Pop stuff.
Yeah, like so you mentioned toys, like the Hot Toys and stuff. But I see a ton of statues behind you. So when did the Hot Toys when did you just stop collecting Hot Toys and doing more statues?
So these up here are Hot Toys.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, all these things, these are Hot Toys. I think they're a Chinese company or Japanese company. Might be Japan. I'm not 100% sure. They're distributed by Sideshow Collectibles, which make the statues. So the things over here behind me, the alien stuff, like the masks and that big alien right there, those are statues. So that's like my little Predator collection. And then the things back here, the bus, the gauntlet, those are statues as well. But yeah, Hot Toys, I got into that. I had a bunch of McFarlane, Spawn, the movie Maniacs. Like if people are familiar with those like 6-7 inch figures, Spawn, movie Maniacs, Animusha, the dragons, the Call of Duty, the military figures, every single figure that McFarlane came out with, I bought. And then a lot of the stuff was put in storage. So when I bought my house and I was able to create my display room, unfortunately, like I want to say like 75% of my collection didn't fit. So then I had all these things and I didn't know what to do with them. And then I saw a show, like I don't remember the name of it, but it was a show on the Sci-Fi Channel. And it was about collectors, and then like a therapist would come in and talk to them about their collection, what the collection means to them, because the collection took over their lives. So it wasn't just about, hey, look at my collection, it's cool. It was more about like how do you transition away from this collection because it's taking over your life? And the host of that, the therapist, said something super profound that stuck with me. It was like, she said something along the lines of, it's better to have like one $10 figure than 10 $1 figures. So get rid of all the small stuff and then invest in a nice piece. And that's what I wound up doing. So I sold all my 6-7 inch McFarlane NECA figures. And that's why I started my Hot Toys collection. Like, I went to Midtown Comics one day and I saw Henry Cavill's Man of Steel figure, the Superman figure. And on impulse, I was just like, let me get that. It was beautiful. So that was my first hot toy. And then it's super addictive. So then I try to stay away, though, from any comic book properties with Hot Toys. So I only do movie properties. So I have like all DC movies, Star Wars, and then all MCU stuff. And I try not to double up. So I only have like one Wolverine, one Iron Man instead of actually, that's a lie. I think I have 3 Iron Men, but 2 of them are in storage. So the Avengers, I think I have doubles. So I have all the Avengers from the first Avengers movie, and then some sprinkled throughout, but then I have all the Avengers from Infinity War and then some from Endgame. But I try not to double them up. And then statues, I have like movie property statues where it's just like science fiction horror stuff. So with the statues, I stay away from any comic book related properties or comic book movie related properties.
Can you remember the first statue you ever bought?
Absolutely. First statue I ever bought was the quarter scale. I'm looking at him right here. Quarter scale T800 endoskeleton by Sideshow. And I was lurking on like the Sideshow forums and stuff like that for a long time. And I always said, hey, I wanted to get one of these, but they were too expensive. So this guy at the time was $600. I entered a football pool at work and I wind up winning. And with the winnings that I got, Super Bowl pool, with the winnings I got, I immediately bought this endoskeleton. Yeah. And then from there, it was off to the races. So I got the endoskeleton. Then the next one I got was a Tony Montana statue from Scarface. Then after that was a Tony Montana bust from Scarface. And then Freddy versus Jason, both Jason and Freddy, that I just saw some guy on a forum was selling it for dirt cheap. And I was just like, yeah, I'll take those. And I got them and put them in storage. I didn't even display them.
So besides like Hot Toys, statues, comics, and that, what else do you collect?
That's a good question, sir. I collect heartache and pain. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, this will fall into the comic book category, but I am a collector of slabs. I do enjoy slabs. Prior to getting back into like floppies and singles, I had a bunch of slabs. So Mrs. LINX, one year for Christmas. Well, before that, we were watching AMC's The History of Comic Books. And then during the Image episode, I was geeking out. So I was just like, yo, that was my favorite comic. That was my favorite comic. And then for Christmas that year, she got me Spider-Man #1 signed by Todd McFarlane in the CGC 9.8 and X-Men #1 in the CGC 9.8 signed by Chris Claremont, Jim Lee, Stan Lee, and Scott Williams. And that's what really like put me onto slabs. So I am a slab collector. I think I still have my cards, my Marvel cards from when I was young, like my first edition Marvel cards. So I have the Impel series 1 through 4, I want to say. I have the Masterpieces collections, the 1992 and I think 1993, the X-Men cards. And these are all like from when I was a kid.
Oh, nice. That's crazy. Like I hear a lot of people did, like even Jim Mint got into comics because of the Marvel cards.
Yeah.
And that. So how many slabs would you say you have? Like too many?
No, not enough. I probably have about maybe 200, I want to say. Actually, hold on. I'll tell you exactly. 174.
174. That's quite a lot, considering like I have like maybe five slabs in my collection.
No, and it was one of those things that it got like, I'm not gonna a lot of people shit on slabs. Comic books are meant to be read and stuff like that, which I completely agree, and I'm a big reader. I think for me, like I like encasing like my high value stuff. So there, like let's say God forbid, if I couldn't pay my bills and I had to sell my stuff, at least I know the value that I'm gonna get because there's a number assigned to that book. I mean, that's all up for interpretation, but I'd rather have it that way. My high value stuff slab.
I always like, I'm a reader too, like, but I also like to collect keys. I like to collect some slabs. I do have some slabs. I just got a Mr. Miracle #1 slabbed. Um, but when people say it's like, oh, the comics are made to read and stuff, but like you can't read that comic that's in the slab. It's like, oh, well, I can easily go read the other issue, or I can go pick up the trade and stuff. There is other ways to read the comic. Just because you can't read that singular issue doesn't mean you can't go and enjoy the story still.
Yeah, absolutely. There's facsimiles, there's reprints, get it in a trade, get it in an omnibus. You could definitely read that story without cracking the slab.
So I want to kind of go to the pop culture side of things, non-comic book related here. I want to know some of the cartoons, some of the movies that you grew up watching that really defined you as a person.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll be honest, TM Nerdy, when I tell you I was a weird kid. And I had this thing. The answer to that real quick is Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles was my end-all be-all. But I was such a weird kid that I would watch Ninja Turtles and nothing else. Like I would wait till it came on at 3:30 or whatever it was, turn the TV on, watch it, and then shut the TV off or watch music videos. Because I was, even as a kid, I was real big into music. So I was a weird kid like that. So I'll be honest, I've never seen an episode of Transformers. I've never seen a full episode of He-Man, because I was all about Ninja Turtles. And if I felt like if I watched something else, I was cheating. Besides Ninja Turtles, I did, because they were on, I think they were on channel 11, I want to say. This is in New York, so the people that are in New York could relate. And then when they moved it to channel 4, they watered it down. And it was kiddie to begin with, but when they moved it onto channel 4, it got really, really kiddie. But then I started watching Bionic 6. So that was a big late 80s cartoon where it was like a family. It was almost like the Fantastic Four, but it was like the Bionic 6, and each of them had like bionic parts. And then they had the action figures, and the action figures were die-cast metal. Like some of them were die-cast metal, and then some of them had like translucent pieces. Wherever like the bionic part was, it was like yellow translucent pieces. So those Dick Tracy, super random. Like I loved Dick Tracy, and that was a cartoon that came out way before my time, but I really enjoyed it. Like when I would come from school, because I had to watch what my older brothers watch, basically, so I couldn't control the TV. And like that, we watched Dick Tracy, Speedy Gonzalez, Bugs Bunny, even black and white shows like I Love Lucy. They used to show them in the afternoon. So I Love Lucy, The Honeymooners, before it moved to like midnight showings. Like I would watch things like that. But on the cartoon tip, definitely Ninja Turtles, Bionic 6. Movies now, oh man, now movies is a whole nother thing. As a kid, I was privy and I was allowed to watch basically whatever I wanted. So there weren't any like restrictions in the house, unless it was just like OD sexual content. And even that, like I knew at 8 years old, I would have to get up off the sofa and then press fast forward. And then even if I was by myself, I would do that, to respect the house. But Predator was one of the first movies that I fell in love with as a kid. My mother sat me down and was just like, yo, you should watch this. And it was just like, thank you, Mom. And Predator, Maniac Cop. I joke around on In the Mix about Maniac Cop. I was the greatest movie of all time. It is not the greatest movie of all time, but to me, it's the greatest movie of all time. And it was another thing where my mom was just like, well, I remember going with my mom to go rent this movie, and she was just like, oh, this sounds cool. Maniac Cop. Who knew? And I sat down and watched Maniac Cop with my mom for the first time. Like all Terminator, like all the sci-fi stuff. I'm a big, I guess that's why I love action figures so much, because I'm a big creature and character design person. So I'll watch a lot of B horror movies now. It's not because I like horror movies. It's because I like the creature design. So I just want to see like how original or how creative somebody can be with like the character design. But Terminator, Predator, Alien, like all those sci-fi classics are kind of like what, fortunately or unfortunately, like molded me and molded me who I am today. And it's amazing how like the first Predator came out in 87 and it's 2025. And for me, that's the greatest movie of all time. But for it to be getting love in 2025, Predator Killer of Killers just dropped the animated anthology movie, which was superb. And then Predator Badlands coming out in November. Yeah, I can't believe it's like 30 years or whatever. yeah, and Predator's still getting love. That's crazy to me.
And Alien Earth is dropping this summer too, the TV show. It'll be a matter of time where they cross paths again, where they do a Predator versus Alien
I think Predator
project.
Badlands is. I think Predator Badlands is going to be that. I think low key, it's going to be an Alien versus Predator movie, or there's going to be some sort of alien presence because there's a Wayland Yutani presence in it. So there's an android from the Alien movies.
All right. So you talked a little bit about pop culture, comic books, slabs, and that. I want to talk more about YouTube because when you came to YouTube, you're doing mystery boxes, you stated, but you also did something very unique that I don't think any other YouTube channel has ever done was the epic rap battles. I feel like that, like I know that they did like, I know that there's a big channel that did brought on other YouTubers together to do like these random rap battles and stuff, but like your thing was kind of unique in a way. How did that get started?
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I think the epic rap battles to me was some of the most fun that I've had on YouTube. And yeah, I urge people to go back and watch those. The way it was started was Biggie Shaq had reached out to me. So big shout out to Biggie Shaq. Biggie Shaq reached out and was just like, yo, you should have people like rap on the thing. And I was like, okay, that's a great idea. Took that idea and it's like, aside from just having people rap, like how do we make that like exciting and like, you know, it's, at the end of the day, what we do is entertainment, right? So how do we give value to the audience? So the first episode, it was just like people just rapping, like it wasn't really a battle. And then the follow-up to that was just like, what if we get people to battle, like go one-on-one, create these cards and make it almost like a boxing match feel. And that's what we did. We brought on guest judges, like Jem Mint was a guest judge one day. Javon Jordan, that's how I met him, the homie, writer of Hell Crow and stuff, comic artist. He was one of the judges. And then we just went from there. And then it like elevated. So every single episode, it just got better and better and better. So we went from like ciphers to the one-on-one battles. And then like if you won your battle in round 2, you would have to battle another person. And then that was like stretching the people too thin. So then we just did the one-on-one battles, like almost like a, you know, a boxing card. And then we did music videos, which was really, really fun. And that was the last thing that we actually did. I know that because I just watched it the other day. Like I'll go back and still watch them. I think it was a super fun time. We did the music videos and the level of creativity and talent amongst the dudes was amazing. I think we stopped it. Well, not we, like I stopped it because I like, where do you go from there? I think we peaked with the music videos and I didn't want to like almost seem like we were phoning something in or people weren't bringing their A game or something like that. I think the music video was definitely like the peak. I think after that, and I joked around with the idea. I was just like, hey, we should all create like an album. Like everybody that's involved in the epic rap battle thing. I think I put it in the chat. Let's make a mixtape. Let's make an album. We already had from the videos. We already had like 5 tracks. Let's just blow it out. And yeah, and that was it. But that was a phenomenal time in my YouTube journey. And big shout out to everybody that came on Epic Rap Battle. And it was frightening. Like a lot of people, like Comic Head 84, Kenny, who's the champ forever, will be the champ. Effortless. Like effortless for him. Drac was absolutely phenomenal. A lot of people just you know, gave a great effort. We reached out to other people. It's oh, man. We reached out to people to come on and people would say yes in public and then privately they'll be like, oh no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So it was like whatever. So anyway, it was a great time.
Some people would come on and not be prepared and
yeah, so
go up again.
Yeah, so we try to even do it like every other month at one time. And because it wasn't every week, it would be like first it started like once a month. So I think it was like the 4th Friday of the month. And then we gave space to do it. So then it was like every other month. And then with the videos, I think we gave even like 3 months for people to go basically create a song, record a song, and record and edit a music video, which is insane to me. And I'm super appreciative of anybody that did that along the journey. Like I was just there for the ride, and everyone else is the one that brought the talent and stuff to really make it pop.
I still remember, like Biggie shows the Biggie and Drac music video, the rap music video. But the one that I always remember is when you were like, hey, we don't usually add music to these, but with Remy Q and Comic Book 84, or Comic Head 84, sorry, we're gonna add the music to it, and they just came out and they blew me away. That was so like epic rap battle. Yes, you can guarantee it was definitely epic.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate that people are still talking about it. I still get messages and stuff like that about bring it back, bring it back. That's not something that I want to bring back. I urge everybody to go back and watch the old episodes because they're fire and they still stand the test of time.
And so you go from epic rap battle to forming a Friday group, because it used to be epic rap battle was on Fridays, but then you and a group of other YouTubers, other faces in this comic book community got together and created the Illuminati. How did that all get started?
So In the Mix started in April of 2021. So it was literally my year anniversary, right? So I was doing all the pre-recorded content, and then I was just like, the next step in any YouTuber's evolution is to create a live show. So I created In the Mix. So In the Mix started as just like this, just an interview show. So my first guest was Gem Mint. We had Wink Ink on, Remy Q, Nick's Kicks and Comics, Legion of Comics. So then that's when Biggie had mentioned the rap battle things, and then we added that. So In the Mix was still interview show, and then with the rap battle on the last Friday of the month. So that was that. And then I kind of I don't want to say got tired with the interview stuff, but it wasn't my thing. And I kind of felt like it was repetitive in a sense. So I just started having random people come on. Like I would reach out to random people, yo, we're going to talk about this, that, and the third. Come on, whatever, like pop culture stuff, what's going on in the news. So then it started with different guys, and then if you go throughout the journey, it's a whole bunch of different people might come on, Drag, Tyler, whoever. And then with the Illuminati crew, like I found my calling, or just the chemistry, because I think chemistry is super important. And I found that with Nick, Tyler, Remy, and Legion of Comics. Like I think the five of us have a great dynamic, and I just kept inviting them back on. Like, if you guys are free next Friday, let's just come back on, do the same thing. And then I felt weird about it just being like DJ LINX in the mix. So then I was just like, yo, we need a name. Let's just rebrand it. And we've renamed it. Well, I renamed it and rebranded it. I took my name off the show because it wasn't just about me anymore. It was about us five. And that was a surprise to them. So I remember the last DJ LINX in the Mix, I was just like, this is the last show. So everybody thought I was ending it, but it was because it was transitioning to In the Mix with the Illuminati. And I mean, I mentioned, Legion, Mark, Remy, Tyler, Nick, myself. I think we have like a great rapport, a deep friendship that goes beyond comic community, goes beyond YouTube. Like I could walk away from all this YouTube stuff today and I'll still talk to those dudes tomorrow. It's we definitely passed like the YouTube friendship stuff, and we've been through some shit, the five of us. And I think chemistry plays a big part with what we do. I think some people might just put together like a group, or might just say, hey, you don't have a show, I don't have a show, let's do a show. And some of those come out really, really well, and people do their thing. I wanted to be more careful with how I did it. So I went through that whole process of inviting just multiple people on, and then seeing who I can really like bounce stuff off of and things like that. Because I said it before and I'll say it again, at the end of the day, the one that you're performing for is the audience, and you have to give the audience value. So you have to give the audience value. And I think we do that on Fridays.
Yeah, you guys do. Like you bounce off of each other, you joke with each other, you guys give each other a hard time, and nobody takes it seriously because you guys have that rapport with each other. You have that connection with each other, and that. So it's a really good show, and you guys just talk pop culture, talk movies that have come out, TV shows that have come out, comics. We talk it all. So I really enjoy the Illuminati. Of course, like I sometimes have a different show to go to, but I always catch your guys' show on the rewind.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I think we I don't know, like we all feel very strongly about the show, and about, just being entertaining for the audience. And what you see is what you get. Like I'm the same person, whether it's in the mix, videos, real life, whatever. And I think with with the 5 of us, like that plays a big part in how we come across and we give the audience value as well. Like literally what you see is what you get.
Mm. And so we mentioned it earlier about comics curing cancer, and that which you actually got together with somebody else from the Illuminati and Rob's Fat Stacks. I remember comics curing cancer when it was just the 24-hour stream with Cardboard Crazies. Chris, shout out Cardboard Crazies. Hopefully you're doing well, my man. Haven't seen you in a while or talked to you, so hopefully you're watching this. What made you guys say, hey, we want to pick this up and run with it? We want to make it bigger and louder, and we want everybody to be part of this comics curing cancer.
So Cardboard Crazies, Chris, he did create it, and we did the 24-hour live stream. Out of that 24-hour live stream, I want to say I was on maybe 16 to 18 hours with him. So that was pretty cool. He set out to raise 2,000, wind up raising 8,000 for the weekend, for the day, I should say, the 24 hours, which was dope. Going into the second year, he was ready to welcome his son into the world, and he wasn't able to do the 24-hour live stream. And for some reason, it passed on to Rob Fat Stacks of Comics. I don't exactly know how, but Rob, being the most responsible person on earth, he was the right person to take on the mantle. So I don't know how I really got involved. I know Rob he kind of changed it from 24 hours to do like 3 days. And yeah, I don't really exactly know. I know I wanted to be like super helpful, and I was just like, let's do our thing. I'll do my thing on In the Mix, you do your thing, and let's split it up. And I don't know how Mark got involved either. But yeah, we did that. So then I look at it as, especially, it's all for comics curing cancer, for charity. But in the beginning, it was almost like a Celebrity Apprentice thing, because I used to love Celebrity Apprentice, where the different people compete for money for their charity. So that's kind of like what I looked at it in that second year. I was like, yo, In the Mix, we're going to do this. We're going to make X amount of dollars. It's going to be amazing. And then that was that year. And I think we made over, I think $23,000 in the second year. So first year it was 8,000. Second year was 23,000. Third year, I want to say we crossed the $50,000 mark. Fourth year, we crossed that as well. And we're in the fifth year now. And it's evolved over time, where it's come, I don't want to say a business, because that has the wrong connotation, because then people think we make money off of this. We don't make any money off of this. We're just 3 volunteers that do this. But we kind of wanted it to be a business, whereas like we can sell these art books, we can sell these prints, we can sell this stuff to make money, with 100% of the proceeds going to comics curing cancer. And just how can we maximize our effort and give value to people that are willing to donate, but also give them something cool in like an art book, in like an art print or something like that. And yeah, this is our 5th year. We're going strong. We just wrapped up Heroes Con a couple of weeks ago, which is absolutely amazing. Was amazing. We raised a lot of money that weekend, which I'm super grateful and thankful for everybody that stopped by the C3 booth to talk to us, take a picture, grab an art book, grab an art print, things like that. And then we have the auctions going on in October. So a lot of, comics, things that people donate, comics, artwork, whatever it is, they donate it. And then we put that up for auction in October. The highlight being a lot of the original art that was in the art book going up for auction as well. So yeah, man, we're super proud of the work we're doing. It's a lot of work, but it's all worth it.
Oh, it's definitely worth it. And it does seem like a lot of work doing this, planning it. I know Rob has a lot on his plate for a ton of things. And the way that I like to look at it, I know you said that it's not, you don't like to call it a business. I would consider it like a nonprofit business type of deal. And that way you guys aren't making money. It's all going to that organization. And that, my question now is, how did the booth get started? Like whose idea was it to be like, hey, we should put a booth at Heroes Con, and that we're all going there. We can buy a booth. We can all set up there and stuff and sell these amazing exclusives that Comics Curing Cancer has come up with.
That's a great question. Uh, I will be guilty for that. So I think after the first year we went to Heroes Con, we all went as attendees, we met and stuff like that, and it was super cool. One of the things that we kind of said was like, damn, I wish we had some place to chill, right? And we saw, shout out to Dustin from Two Brothers. He grouped up with a bunch of guys and they had, I wouldn't even call it a booth. They had like a section in the corner with the sofa, with the coffee table and bottles of liquor, which was amazing. And it was just a spot to chill. So we were like, we should do something like that. And I was just like, if you guys want, I'll look into how much a booth costs. Like what's, you know, we'll do the stuff with the booth. So I did that, took the ball, ran with it, got the booth the first year. It's like, all right, so we got the booth, we got the branding, we got banners, we got tablecloths, we got all this stuff. What are we going to do at the booth? Hey, let's sell this art book. So came up with the art book idea, reached out to all the artists and all that stuff, artists within the community. So there were a lot of people within the community that contributed to the first Comics Curing Cancer art book. Did that, got some art prints, sold that. And then this year, it was just like, how do we take that and just make it better? Because you don't want to change it because it's not broken. It's working. Just how do we make it better? And then that's what we did. So we just leveled up the art book, leveled up the art prints, had a bunch of other things at the booth, displayed the original art. People were coming over, donating stuff for us to sell, which was amazing, like exclusives. Like there was a vendor, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who the vendor was, just walked over with a stack of Heroes Con exclusives, like from different artists and stuff, and just say, hey, that you can sell these, get whatever you want for it. So we sold that. People were donating slabs to the booth, and we would literally just put a sticker on it and put it right back on the booth so that if anybody wanted it, they could just grab it. Yeah, so it was all about just getting the booth. I originally came up with the idea. The guys like really, really bought into it. And then from now, like it's going to be a staple. What's really funny, Travis, and I wish you were able to go to Heroes Con, like within the comic book community or people that are there, like the C3 booth is almost like a rallying point or like a meeting point. Like everybody comes to the C3 booth, which is funny. And there's always, it looks like it's busy. Some people are there buying stuff, but people are just there like chilling and like hanging out outside of the booth. So it looks like one of the busier booths. Like you got Scotty Young with the crazy line, John Jang with the crazy line, and then randomly the C3 booth with just a bunch of people hanging out in front of it. So like people know us in Heroes Con, which is hilarious to me.
So was that the time where you're just like, hey, we're gonna get a C3 booth at Heroes Con, and that is that around the same time where you're just like, you know what, we need an art book. We need to get some artists from the comic community to do a page for an art book. How did that all become? Did it come when you were like, hey, let's do a C3 booth?
Yeah, absolutely. So we knew that we were going to do the C3 booth, like that was paid for. The next logical step was, what are we going to do at the booth? And that was, we came up with the art book. Actually, with the art book idea, I remember it was after two Nerd Dads with Nick and Ignacio. And backstage, as you know, Iggy's a professional artist. It's been published and stuff. And I was just like, hey, Iggy, like, what do you think about this idea? So he was the first person that I pitched the art book idea to. Like, what do you think? And he was just like, that's a fantastic idea. And he's helped me a lot along the way, just giving me that professional artist perspective. And, you know, that first art book was like a proof of concept, something that we can do it with the ultimate goal to trying to, you know, get more recognized names in the art book. And we got a lot of recognized names in the art book this year, in the 2025 book.
Can you give a little bit of clue at who, like it's public knowledge now that who's in the art book and that. Can you give us a few names of like people that don't know who's in the art book? Give them a few names that are pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. So David Sanchez did the cover, who's a fantastic artist. He's been published on Something's Killing Children, World Tree, some other stuff. He did the cover, phenomenal whole cover. Well, the cover A. Christopher Lockwood, an up and coming artist who's phenomenal. He contributed to it. Martin Zavala, who's well known, probably the best like airbrush comic book cover artist in the game. Like he did a piece for it. The homie Javon Jordan did a piece, and he had an exclusive for it at Amazing Con in Las Vegas during the same weekend as Heroes Con. Stepford Wolf Comics. Dave Akins did a phenomenal Joker piece. Dave Akins is one of the artists that works on SpongeBob, Blue's Clues, Dora the Explorer, all that stuff, Bluey. So, and he's an awesome guy. It's just like a bunch of people that contributed. I'm drawing a blank on the other names, but if you haven't gotten the art book, like we still have some, but if people want to like reach out and grab it, it is dope. Michael Rushbrook, Todd Beats, who's a published artist, he just dropped a phenomenal Battle Beast cover. Matt Wilson, of course, just a bunch of like dope artists that are in the game or just like, you know, cutting their teeth within the industry.
So you mentioned that there is still copies of the art book and that. How can people get them?
Yeah, so you can go over to comicscuringcancer.bigcartel.com, and there's art books there. That's the comics. It's basically my website, and then everything that people buy on there that goes straight to Comics Curing Cancer as well. So the way it works, you go on, you purchase something, and then that goes to the C3 PayPal, and then I transfer that from the C3 PayPal to right to the American Cancer Society. So 100% of everything goes to the American Cancer Society. We keep detailed records of everything. Like everything we transfer is legit in an itemized sheet. So let's say I transferred this morning, July 9th, $75 at 10:47 a.m. Like it's legit. Everything is itemized just in case somebody wants to knock on our door and be like, hey, let me see what you guys are doing. Like we're 100% on the up and up.
That's great. So my last question for today, we started with comics, how you got into comic collecting. I want to know what you recommend. It could be either comics, TV shows, movies to watch that are recently out now. Like what are you reading? What are you watching? And what are you loving?
That's a good question. Comic books, I would highly recommend anyone to go back and pick up anything Nemesis related by Mark Millar. So Nemesis, the first arc is probably, it's only 4 issues. And yo, TM, like it is insane, like the level of depravity within that book. So basically, if have you read it?
I have not. I think I've been trying to get up to that. I recently read Wanted.
Okay.
Totally different from the movie. Good read though.
Yeah. So Mark Millar is slowly, if not even slowly, like he's becoming one of my favorite writers. Anything that he drops, like I'm there copying it from the comic book store. But Nemesis, phenomenal. He's basically an evil version of Batman. Same skill set, same resources. He's just evil. So evil version of Batman. Then you got Nemesis Reloaded. You got Big Game, which is sort of takes everything, all the other characters from the Millerverse, like Hawk and I forgot who the from Magic Order, Jupiter's Legacy, put them all in one book, almost like an Avengers style thing. And then it's a dope crossover. And then Nemesis Rogues Gallery came out. That was pretty dope. Hawk is pretty cool. Another Mark Millar book. Vatican City, which just wrapped up. It was a Mark Millar 3-issue arc. That was cool. I would recommend that. Daniel Warren Johnson's Dual Power Bomb to me is like I talk about Infinity Gauntlet, but that's what nostalgia goggles on. You know what I'm saying? Because Infinity Gauntlet for me is like the greatest story of all time, but it's not. Like, and I know that. Like Maniac Cop is the greatest movie of all time, but it's not. But Dual Power Bomb for me is perfection. 7 issues of perfection. It's a wrestling story. It's deeply emotional. Yo, like this is the first book that I ever read that I sobbed at the end. Like I couldn't believe it. Like how that it was like a gut punch to me, and I didn't know that I would react that way. For me, Dual Power Bomb is just absolutely perfection. I highly recommend it. The Moon is Following Us, which is another Daniel Warren Johnson book that just wrapped up. Similar vein. It just took a long time to get to the emotional payoff, but it was well worth it. 10 issues. I think if it was maybe 3 issues lighter, it would have been better. I like a lot of like horror stuff, murder stuff. There's a book now called The Slasher's Apprentice, which today issue 3 came out. So it's funny. So it's like a Uber fan of like the serial killer, which she tracks him and then she meets up with him and is just like, hey, Mr. Serial Killer, you've been losing your step. Look, you're leaving evidence behind. I got this from your last crime scene. Take me under your wing. Teach me how to become a serial killer and I'll make you better. Like we can both work off of each other, which was absolutely hilarious. The Slasher's Apprentice. I just love my indie stuff, dog. Like indie stuff to me is top tier. On the DC side, the absolute Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, top notch. All of them. Mm-hmm. All different, all spectacular. And just the regular Wonder Woman title is phenomenal as well.
Yes, it is. Tom King's killing it with that Wonder Woman title and that. And I'm glad that, because he's usually the type of guy like with Human Target and Strange Adventures and Danger Street and all that. And Mr. Miracle, he only stuck to doing 12 issues. So I'm kind of glad that he broke that and it was just like, hey, I'm going to continue doing this run of Wonder Woman. And now he's doing Daughter of Wonder Woman Trinity, which if you haven't read that, I highly recommend as well.
Yeah, I need to pick that up. But Wonder Woman, I never thought that I would be a Wonder Woman fan. And I am an absolutely diehard Wonder Woman fan. The way in this current run, because I don't have any other experience with Wonder Woman outside of this current run, the way that he showcased all her attributes, aside from just her strength, similarly to the way All-Star Superman portrayed Superman, take away the strength and everything, that's who the character is. Wonder Woman is compassion, is kindness, and Superman, what makes Superman great is his human side to everything. But yeah, I'm reading that Wonder Woman and I'm like, damn, I can't believe like this is so good. It is phenomenal.
Now, on non-comic book related things like TV shows and movies, what would you recommend?
Right now, what did I just watch? Just because it's fresh in my head, I just finished watching Ironheart on Disney Plus, which first 3 episodes were okay, last 3 episodes were amazing. Like it's literally a mixed bag. And that finale episode was fire. Ironheart. I just started watching The Bear season 4 yesterday, which The Bear is always cool. It's categorized as a comedy, but it's not. It's what, like, you watch that show, it's on FX, it's about like a restaurant and cooking and stuff. Just the level of intensity and just from a technique perspective, like the filmmaking, the editing, the sound design, everything that goes into Bear is phenomenal. So I look at it like with that lens, like from a creative standpoint, and the Bear is phenomenal. Other than that, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank right now. We just finished watching Squid Game season 3, so that just dropped. Which there was a stinger at the end of the last episode that my jaw dropped. I was like, which was amazing. In the last episode of season 3 of Squid Game.
So to speak on Ironheart, I agree with you. The last 3 episodes were fantastic. There were certain characters, not without spoiling it, that showed up. I will spoil one because it's pretty common knowledge, but Zelina, she's from, like, her first appearance is in Doctor Strange issue 15, and she's like the head person of Strange Academy. I still have to read that. She was a standout character for me. Like, her introduction in the 4th episode was phenomenal. I hope they go further with that character, like introducing her into a future Doctor Strange movie or project. So.
Yeah, I think the goal, I might be completely wrong at the time of filming, because I know they scrapped a lot of stuff. I was even surprised Ironheart got to see the light of day. I think they were going to do like a Strange Academy type show, and she was probably going to be the lead in that. But I'm glad, like with the Ironheart stuff, that they really like leaned into the direction that they went. They really went all in with it. And that's what you have to do. Like, you have to follow through on the vision. Don't just like skirt around it and be like, oh man, but this is going to turn viewers off if we go like, this is too dark, whatever. Just go like full tilt in that direction. And they did. And for me, it was worth it. Like I thought it was dope.
And to speak on Bear too, like, it's more of a drama. I would say it's definitely more of a drama than anything, but secondary, like, just like most horror movies have like subgenres. And I would say the subgenre to this is comedy. It's more of a dramedy than anything, because there is comedy aspects in it. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's a full dramedy show, drama show.
Yeah, and I highly recommend it. Short episodes too. They're like half an hour. There was like 1 or 2 episodes that might be an hour.
And the show that I'll recommend to you before we get out of here is Revival. Revival, based on the Tim Seeley book of the same name. Great show. The only issue I feel like with that show is that it's on the wrong network. It's on the Sci-Fi Network, and I feel like it's going to die on that network because not a lot of people. I'm the only person that's talked about it and has watched it, and it's a little different. You have characters coming back to life, but they're not zombies. And there's like a mystery behind that. And it's only specific people that died after a certain date are coming back to life. And they really show you that people before that don't come back. It gets pretty graphic in the show, but it's really, really good. And I highly recommend it.
Yeah, you had sent me that as a recommendation in IG, the DMs, and I went looking for it. So the first episode was on Apple Plus, and I couldn't find the rest of the episodes. For some reason, I thought it was on Peacock, and it's not on Peacock. But now that you say it's on the Sci-Fi Network, that makes sense, which is I don't have access to anything on the Sci-Fi Network.
The first episode is on the Sci-Fi YouTube channel, but that's about it.
Gotcha.
I don't know where else you could get it because like I'm watching it off of Crave, which is like my HBO. So maybe you can find it on the Max. I don't know.
Okay, I'll check it out. I definitely, because I like usually when I look for a show, I'll just on the Apple TV, like I'll just search it there, and then it'll tell you what streaming service it's playing from because it's all connected. And it wasn't on anything except for the freaking that first episode on Apple Plus.
Did you end up checking it out?
No, because I couldn't find the rest of the episodes. I'm a big binger, so I'm not gonna just watch one episode and then like figure it out. Like at minimum, if there were 3 episodes, I'll watch those first 3 episodes and then I'll like decide whether to continue going or whether to give it up. Like I won't watch just one episode because I don't think like so. For example, Squid Game, right? So with the first episode, for me, the first episode of Squid Game was horrible until it gets to the games, like in episode 2 or whatever. So if I would have just watched Squid Game season 1, episode 1, I would have completely given up on the show.
Well, we're getting to that hour mark. I just want to say thank you so much, DJ, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to sit down with me for an hour to get to know you a little bit more. I actually got to know you a lot more. I'm glad the information that you gave us during this episode, it was great, man. His Instagram, YouTube, the link to get yourself one of those art books is down below. Also, the link to Comics Cure Cancer is also down below in the description. Go donate if you have the means to do so. Go get yourself an art book. Go subscribe to DJ LINX and go follow him on Instagram. DJ, man, is there anything else you need to say or want to say before we end here?
No, I just want to thank you again, not only for, you know, having me on today, but for your friendship and the way we connect, like on Instagram and stuff. And you send me recommendations like the Revival and things like that. So I just want to thank you. And I think it's awesome that you're bringing chatting with the comic book community back. So thank you, Travis.
I appreciate it. So guys, if you're new here, please subscribe, hit that like button. And as always, my friends, stay freaking nerdy.